What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to Your Ex-Drinking Buddy. My name is Brennan Tassif. I'll be your host. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Check out the merch store at brennantcomedy.com/merch-store. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well. We'll put the shorts up there, the full video, the whole thing. Thank you so much for listening. I love it. I hope you love it. Subscribe on Patreon, too. We do bonus episodes. I do Tales from the Restaurant, where I talk about celebrities I've waited on and whether they're assholes or not, which is super fun. Also, we do a pre-show banter for my other show, Cheers from the Press Box with Joe Dorville. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on over there, too. Make sure you just subscribe everywhere, just all over the place. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're not leaving the mean comments, thank you for that. Maybe leave a couple nice ones.
Grab me your beer and grab me a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do. Hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and then reminisce about those crazy stories. I am sober now, but it's still one of my favorite things to do, to hang out with somebody and reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I'll be joined by a guest. This week is no exception. All the way from New York City, Teresa DeGaetano.
Thank you for having me, Brennan.
What's
yes, I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you.
Sparkles, because we're talking about drinking and partying.
Yeah, it's the Beyonce shirt, yes. as you explained to me when we first got started.
Yes, I wore this to Beyonce, and now for you, another B.
Let's go. Here we go. The beehive, as it were. Before we get too far into anything, plug everything up front. You have a very successful podcast. You do stand-up. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yes, so I do a podcast called Two Stand-Up Gals with my girl Erica Spera, and it's just us kind of talking about everything under the sun. Just the gift of gab, so it's great if you're going on a power walk, cleaning your apartment, in your car. Just you want to kill some time, that's that. And then I also do stand-up here in New York City, so you can check out my Instagram at Teresa, that's TERESADEG, then I will come up. So no H. And then
I love how you go, and then I'll come. I do the same thing. I go Brennan, T-A, and then it'll just pop up.
Yeah, boom, there it is. So, and then I post videos of my Tales from the Tables, because I bartend for a living still, and then my stand-up shows. And
you call it Tales from the Tables?
Tales from the Tables.
I do a Patreon series called Tales from the Restaurant, where I talk about all the celebrities that I've waited on and whether they're nice or mean.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
I love how, because I'm always like, this is so niche, like nobody, but then you as a fellow person in the industry is like, no, yeah, that checks out.
Now, I don't actually wait on celebrities. Like, we don't really have celebrities that come into where I work, but it's just my stories of things that happen at work.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so much stuff that happens. Yeah.
I started doing, because everyone was like, you have to be more active on social media, and you can only cut so many stand-up clips. And then you're just like, not only am I burning all my material, but like, this is the same joke. Yeah. Like, like if I do a run, like I was in Denver a couple weeks ago and I did 5 shows, but it's like, yeah, it's the same. It's a lot of the same set. So it's like, what are we doing? So I started doing the front-facing camera thing because everyone's like, you gotta do the front. So I do a lot of the restaurant stuff.
That's great.
If you talk about tipping and money on the internet, people are volatile. I have discovered, because everyone's kind of set in their ways. So I do dumb shit like, who doesn't read a menu? Like, don't ask me for broccolini. We don't have broccolini. It's broccoli. Stop asking me for broccolini. It's broccoli. And then people are like, ha, 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 that's so funny. But then I would do ones where, like, if you don't tip, just tell me before, like, we get started. Like, I'm not going to change service because it's actually harder for me to do bad than it is to just do my job. But just tell me so my expectations are tempered. And people lost their minds. Like,
really?
Do your job, asshole. Maybe take it up with your owner who doesn't pay you. Not to mention they don't even understand the historical relevance of tipping. But I was just like, like when you go in people's pockets online, they go crazy.
Well, this is how I feel about tipping real quick, is that everywhere wants a tip now. So we are saturated in this tip culture.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, you poured me a coffee and I left with it. Why am I leaving you a tip? I didn't sit here at your coffee bar. I didn't create a conversation. You're not even cleaning up after me. But then in a bar, you're creating this atmosphere and then you don't get tipped because everyone else is tipping everywhere else. A cashier at a bodega. That's your job.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah.
Like, why is there a tip jar? Like,
it blows my mind, especially in New York, the tip, because I was always raised. My dad he was in sales, so he went out a lot, took out customers a lot and stuff. So he was always like, you tip 20%, that's the baseline. But this is before I was even in restaurants. And then he goes, and if you want something to get done, this is America.
yeah.
You pay for it.
Yep.
It might be a little more, but like when the Comcast guy back in Florida would come over, I'd be like, yo, man, I need this done and I need it done now. Here's $20. Just fix it.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. And they would be like, yeah, no problem. Because, it's a lot of like, I don't have the part. We got to do this. I got to call this in. If you throw them cash, they're like, I'll fucking whatever. I'll figure it out. So I started doing that with like other things too, where it was just like if I would go to get my car worked on, I would go to the mechanics, not the guy at the front. I'd be like, yo, man, just get mine done first. Here's $20. Please just knock it out. And they would. And then they'd come back to the front. They'd be like, no, his car doesn't need anything. We did the oil change. You're all good. Because that's the American ideal is money. But you are 1,000% right. Like if I'm at the airport and I'm doing one of those like self checkouts and there's still like a woman standing there to like monitor, and she has a tip thing comes up and I'm like, you got out of your fucking mind.
That is how I feel about the bars at the airports too. Like I have to put everything in and then it asks for a tip. I'm like, but she didn't even talk to me.
Yeah.
You're just standing right there. Like it's so silly. Then if I want another drink, I have to get my credit card back out and put it back in. I think it makes them lose money. I get fired up about this all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Where I love an old school, like I think Newark has like a bartender. Like certain airports will still have a bartender and I love it. Oh, the one time we were traveling, this can go right into the drinking stories. And because I do love an all-inclusive vacation.
Yes.
So, or just a Caribbean vacation.
You had sent that to me.
So I put that on there.
Let's talk about it.
I was with my girl Tanya, and so we get to the airport, and I do love an airport bar. Like I will drink before a
It
flight.
used to be one of my favorite things.
It really is.
Because I had only been 21 and had the finances to fly for a very short window. But I'm a nervous flyer. I'm so scared to fly. So when I turned 21 and I was able to drink on a plane, because again, like I was living in squalor, like I couldn't fly, but I did have to fly every once in a while, whether it was for a funeral or like my sister was like, I'll pay for your flight. You just have to like come home. I remember the first time I was drunk on a plane and I was like, oh, flying is so fun. This is so fun. Like just talking, and I like done like 6 open mics, and I was like, I'm a comedian. Hey, how you doing? I'm the funny guy. Just drunk, like if it goes down, it goes down. Who gives a shit? God, take me now. And I remember being like, flying is gonna be so easy, and then I wasn't able to fly, and then I got sober, and I was like, fuck.
Well, that's what so I haven't drank in 32 days.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so I am doing like more of a lifestyle change and all that, but I'm like, ooh, how's it going to be flying? Now, I do have a Xanax prescription to fly because I got nervous in my mid 30s. Like there was some turbulence. And then I was like, ooh, what is this called? Oh, this is anxiety.
Yeah.
And so the Xanax helps, but it's nothing like a vodka Xanax because you gotta time like 2 cocktails, the Xanax, when you know you're going to take off because you can't have the Xanax too early because then you waste the Xanax and you're just on the runway like, what a waste of a Xanax. So you got to time it right and then you're like, this is great. And then you wake up feeling refreshed. Now, I don't get like fully drunk on the flight.
Well, that's smart, especially if you're taking Xanax because you could
get no, I was hammered on a 6 a.m. flight. This was like 6 weeks ago. Okay, this is also what led up.
I love how you set it up like it was going to be so long ago. You're like, this was
6 weeks.
Last month.
This was Labor Day weekend. And it's always the last night of a trip. I was in Maine visiting friends. And the last night, I just went too hard.
Yeah.
And then the flight was at 6 a.m. out of Portland, Maine. Because the rest of the flights were so expensive later in the day on Labor Day Monday.
I always fly early.
Yeah.
1, you avoid weather. And 2, it's the cheapest flight.
It is. And it was crowded. And I was like, luckily they got me to the airport. And I was like, I'm hammered.
Yeah.
Still at the airport. Like I'm still drunk from the night before. These women talked the entire time during the flight. And I give them like the drunk stink eye where I was like, just me trying to and I just look at them. I fell asleep. I woke up and I was like, oh, we're here. Okay. Oh, we're here.
It's the best.
This is great. And so, yeah.
It's so, and I've been in plenty of those situations, like especially I worked at a breakfast place for a little while, and that when it first started happening, I was like, this is great. Like you party the night before, I have to be up at 5:30 in the morning to get to work by 6:30, and I'd wake up and I'd kind of be like, okay, I guess we're still, all right, we're doing this. Do a shot just to steady the nerves and then like get to work. And then I'd be like, this is fun. But then by the time like noon, 1 o'clock hits and your hangover starts to come in, you're like, I think I'm going to die.
Yeah. Being hungover when you work at a bar or you're waiting tables is awful.
Yeah.
It is
You either have to be drunk or completely sober.
Yeah, because this is what will happen to me. So my shift is like 11 to 8:30. And so I work here in New York City at a craft beer bar. And so if I go into work, like I will stay drunk the night, like halfway into the day, like until it starts wearing off and wearing off. And I have my 4 beverages. It's usually a coffee, a Coke, a water, and a vitamin water. So like some sort of hydration.
Locked in.
My boss is like, oh, someone went out last night. I'm like, yeah. And then around 4 o'clock, it's the, oh dear God. I get the anxiety, the anxiety, and I'm like spiraling in my head. I'm spiraling. I'm like, oh God, this is awful. This is awful. Like
Everything is wrong. Everything.
It's the hours are creeping by. A minute feels like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it's
There's
like
that great line from Shawshank Redemption. Time draws out like a blade. And you're like, what is that? And that's
so
exactly
good.
the feeling because you're like, it's only been 6 minutes. It's only been 7 minutes. How is it still 4 o'clock? What is happening?
It is brutal. I was gonna say about flying.
Yeah.
With like so my friend and I were flying to Barbados, and so I was like, do we really have to go through the kiosk again? Because there was a bartender kind of there, and so I threw down like what was it, $20? I was like, or $40. I said, can we get 2 shots of vodka, just like chilled? And they were the biggest shots.
Yeah.
And then I was
start
like,
throwing
here,
cash around,
yeah.
people are-
I mean, gave him $40, and he's like, do you want another round, girls? Oh, you're fine. You don't have to tip me again. And I was like, because we just pocketed it.
Yeah, of course.
And then, which is great because I was
chart.
like, yeah. And I was like, we saved money. He made money. We're drunk. Like, she was like, these are huge shots. She's like, bottoms up. And then someone on the plane actually needed assistance. They thought the man like passed out. He was just asleep.
Oh, God. Older guy?
Older guy.
Yeah.
And like, I thought, don't you dare mess this flight up for everybody. Like, that's the New York
I'm in
motto.
a great,
Where I was like, I hope he's okay. But seriously, if we have to land, I'm just trying to get to Barbados. Meanwhile, my friend was passed out the entire flight. She woke up. I was like, you missed everything.
So much has happened.
So much has happened. And then they were on our flight back.
Oh, really?
It was
Same-
like,
yeah.
it was a week. And so I was like, it's you guys. And she's like, he just fell asleep. It's fine. It's fine. And you could tell she got a fresh manicure for the trip, a fresh blowout, highlights. And I was like, she's like, she had a bag of pills too. She was like,
It's like our old family motto growing up. Don't embarrass me.
Yeah.
She's probably saying to him on the way back, like, you passed out. And everyone was like, who's this asshole who's dead on the plane?
yeah, there was a doctor. And so I was like, oh, thank goodness we have a doctor. And so, but there was a joke where it was like everything was through the app. So it was like, oh, you need this? You have to go through the app. I was like, well, thank you, flight attendants. Everything's through the app. And then my friend, who's also a comic, was like, do they have to call the doctor through the app? I was like, still got it. She woke up and I
Nailed
was
it.
like, bam. And so
Just out of a hangover haze,
And
making
she's
jokes.
small too, so like she just curls up right in that rest. And I was like, when you're 5'1", you just get comfy, you get cozy.
It's so funny too because I'm a bigger human being, and so when I get on planes, I try to make myself as small as possible.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I cannot stand is the person who like just has no spatial, and this is New York too, but just no spatial awareness, and you're like, I'm twice your size and I'm taking up half the, like, what are you doing sitting like this?
Just stretching out.
Yeah.
Also, Brennan, we're the same size. So when you're like, I'm a big human, I was like, I think we're the same size.
I'm 6'1", 230. I'm a big boy.
Okay, I am not 6'1", but not quite 230, but I have been in my days. So
What is it that you love so much about the all-inclusive? Because you had just wrote
Yes.
all-inclusives, which means there's more than one.
Well, I do have jokes about the all-inclusive, and since I don't know if anyone's heard them, I'm going to tell you them, and including yourself. Okay, when you get drunk, like at an all-inclusive bar in New York, so you get drunk, you forget your credit card, you don't remember what happened, you just cancel the credit card. You don't go back to that bar for a while, let the dust settle. All-inclusives, you get drunk, you have stupid conversations with people, you have to see them at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner, at
That's
breakfast.
my
You're like,
nightmare. That's my nightmare.
why was I talking to Linda from Minnesota about dolphin rape for 2 hours last night? Like, you're just like, what was that conversation? But I like the all-inclusive because you don't have to worry about the price. Like, if you want to drink, it's there. If you don't want to drink, you're like, sure, let's have some rosés at lunch. Like, I went to a Club Med in Turks and Caicos in April. It was great. Now,
Yeah.
Club Med is known for, like, I think back in the day, like swingers.
It was a swinger thing, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like that now because I think the swingers have aged out.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of pickleballers. There's a lot of Asian people playing pickleball. Let's just put it that way. They were up early. Our room was near the pickleball courts. I went with my one friend, and she is a drinker as well. Like, and so, but she even took it to another level that she had to go to the ER and get like an IV.
Love
and I
it.
was like, oh man,
I've
okay.
done that. I've done that on several occasions.
Day 2. And I was like, girl, push. And I was like, we gotta push the water. We gotta push the water. So it was funny, like on Instagram, I have all my bikini pics and like looking sexy. Then when I got back to the bar, back to work, I was like, oh, she had to go to the I didn't post that.
hospital,
You know, that's the
it was a
real
disaster,
story
yeah.
that happens. And
Oh my God,
so,
how
yeah.
much, and we do this, I mean, I know I do this with shows all the time where you're like, hey, if you're going to take pictures, do it like behind the first row. And it looks packed, and you're like, crush it.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it was practically a sold out crowd. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
you just got the 4 heads in the front,
Yep.
or you crop it so no one who's at that first table, it looks like
The empty first table?
Empty first
Oh my
table.
God, I hate that.
You're like, who sat this show? Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's
ridiculous.
so that is one of my favorite things when I was drinking was like the just throw it away kind of, if that makes sense. Like when you would have like, so we had hurricanes a lot because I grew up in Florida. And so we always had hurricanes. And I remember one year my restaurant didn't close. And it was like they got in trouble, like from a optics perspective and stuff, because we were like driving through this like big hurricane. And like I grew up in Florida, so I'm like, it just rains a lot. Like, yeah, if you're on the coast, it's devastating, and I'm sorry, but like for anyone who's like 3 or 4 miles inland or more, it's like by the time it gets to you, it kind of like starts to die down, unless it's like one of those really catastrophic ones, which is rare. So I say all that to say the next year there was another hurricane coming. So my same job was like, no, we're closing down for like 7 days. And what I mean by like that, like throw it away is like, so I know for 7 days, if I get drunk and pass out and sleep through my alarm, nothing's going to happen. Nobody cares. Nobody's checking. And those are the times, like I got a DUI in that time, but those are the times where it's like, oh, we can just let it rip.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, because I've never done an all-inclusive, so that's the closest thing I can think of to being like, oh, we can just let it go.
This is how the all-inclusive starts out. Okay, you start off the week, and I like to walk every day on the beach. I'll get a coffee. I love a beach walk. And then you're like, we'll just drink at, like, happy hour time. Like, we're not going to day drink. We're going to do some activities. That lasts a couple days till you get hungover. And then you're like, is it 2? Yeah, let's do 2. Oh, are we having some at breakfast? Like,
Yeah.
and one of the girls I've traveled with, she's now married with kids. But we had a great time in Jamaica. And so, you know, all the food's all-inclusive. So she's like, I'm getting a mimosa at breakfast. I was like, she's like, don't judge.
Is
I was
this
like,
day one?
This was day 1.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I'm going up for more bacon. So let's not judge each other on this one. Like, we're fine. But then her and I were cracking up because once a rainstorm came in, everyone's just drinking. And
There's
made
nothing else
friends.
to do.
Yeah. So I went up and changed out of my suit the one day and I came back down. She had everyone drinking Negronis. That's not a beach drink.
No,
that is
not
not,
at all.
that is, and everyone was just
That is
messed
a basement
up.
speakeasy drink.
Yes, and because she's a bartender, she's like, these Negroni. And I was like, Caroline? And we were cracking up. And so what we did also by the pool bar was we started swimming laps. Like, okay, I need a sober lap. I got to like take a minute. And we're like, what if we did like aerobics with shots and everyone's drunk, but you're like little lifts, just to keep everybody like in the game a
In
little
action,
bit.
in motion.
In action. Because you don't have to drive. You don't have to worry about the price. Like it's all, you've already paid for it. So if you wake up drunk and hungover on the beach, you just have a cocktail and you're back, you're at it.
Yeah.
Like, yep.
The hair of the dog is the greatest thing ever when it came to like drinking for multiple days, because I cannot express, obviously I've been sober a long time, but I cannot express the relief of like being on the edge of hungover and still drunk and then hitting that shot and being like, everything's
I'm
fine.
fine.
Everything's good.
That's like, okay, I went to Ireland this summer. This is why I'm not drinking at the moment. Because it was a boozy. I did a 5-week no alcohol dry January at the beginning of this past year. I got broken up with and I was like, he's going to get a drunk text, a long one from me and maybe me.
essay.
Because he broke up with me in an essay and I was like, it's my time. And so I was like, you can't do that. So I had a dry 5 weeks, went to Chicago to do a show, and then was like, I'm going to have a martini. I love a dirty martini.
Gin or vodka.
Oh, I'm a vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that one. Extra dirty, no vermouth, maybe a splash, 3 olives, blue cheese if you have.
In and out.
In and out, and I love a deep V.
Okay.
Okay, like a steakhouse martini. You spill half on your titties. You're like, I still got a bunch.
Yeah.
And so.
That's what we do.
I
It's
love
so funny too, because those martini glasses hold like 4 ounces, and people are always like, because we fill ours to the top, like a true steakhouse, and people are always like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like
it's
that.
great. Well, the little ones, the coupe ones, are like 2 sips.
Well, and it's interesting too because the coupe ones, even if we put in the same amount, for some reason it doesn't, like, because they're so deep, ours, that it barely goes like halfway. And people are like, there's nothing in here. And I'm like, I assure you, there's like 4 ounces of booze in there. It's just a big coupe glass.
Oh no! See, I will look at a place and I'm like, "What's their martini glasses like?" Like I am that. So I was like, "Can I see your glassware?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm that bitch." But if I'm paying $25, $30, I want it.
Charge, yeah.
I want a proper cocktail. But I felt like anxiety after the 5 weeks of not drinking, and so then I was like, "Oh, right away, I don't feel great." I was like, "Oh no, I didn't miss this feeling." And so because your clothes fit better, your skin feels, you just feel better when you're not like it is, you know. But these are drinking stories, guys. Yeah. Okay, so
it is one of those things where it's like, because I don't mean to interrupt, but this just happened like 2 days ago. There's a guy at my work who like quit drinking like 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about something related to because I work in a fancy restaurant, so we're talking about wine or something at pre-shift. And he goes, and then I joked to my boss, and I was like, yeah, we're going to do a wine tasting today, huh? Because sometimes, you know, when we do wine tastings at work, everyone gets drunk except me, because I just smell it and put it back, and I'm just standing there like an asshole, and everyone else is hammered. And then this guy, he's like, you guys really should. I mean, other than Brennan, you guys should really stop drinking. Like, being sober is so good for you. Being sober is so... And I turn to my boss and I go, I've been sober for almost 8 years. Have you ever fucking heard me say this?
Yeah.
And she goes, no. And I go, because drinking is awesome.
It is. That's the only thing I've done for 27 years I've gotten worse at. Yeah. It really is. It's like I've really not been getting better at this. It is declined. So only drinkers
so
laugh
fun
at that.
To get hammered.
In the moment, it's great. It's just the hangovers
are
what, and that's what makes you. So if you didn't have that, everyone would still be doing it.
If I hadn't woken up in the hospital the day after my 30th birthday, I'd probably still be drinking.
And just like, yeah, I mean, I've been lucky, fortunate where I haven't had that, but like. Just the next day where you're like, oh, I'm spiraling. It's just like really bad. And then you're like, what did I do?
This is the end. This is my nightmare. This is my nightmare.
Oh man. But I do have to talk about working in a restaurant with drinking. We will get back to that. I will say, like, when I went to Ireland this summer, I was like, I'm going to drink. Like,
so
I'm going
was it, I just, for the timeline purposes, so you didn't drink for January, and then when did you go to Ireland?
I went to Ireland in July.
Okay.
So I did start drinking, but I would take like a week off. Like, I identify as a binge drinker. Yeah. So like when I go and you have that, it's the fuck it drink, then it's like, game on. Yeah. Like, so I can have like a drink with dinner and all of that, but then it's like once we start going, and my circle of friends are kind of the same. Like,
yeah, it's like if we're going to turn it on, we'll turn it on.
Yeah.
Like, because I never, to that point, I never understood people who like go out with friends and then have like 2 beers. I'm like, if we're going out, we're going out.
It's the same.
Like, what are we doing?
It's been interesting to watch the shift. Like my friend, we were at the Boathouse last week, and I was like, okay, I'm not drinking. Like it's almost easier just to take it completely off the table
100%.
than it is to moderate. Because I was like, I had 2 iced coffees. They were getting drunk. I mean, it looked like fun. I was like, I know they're drunk because I know how much they've drank. And then I'm like, I would just be right there with them. Like I would be like, what's the next spot? I'm gonna go to another spot. I'm gonna order wine at home. I'm
gonna check your bank account the next day, and you're like, motherfucker.
Oh my gosh! You're like, I thought I was ordering the cheap wine. Apparently, I said $50 a bottle. I meant $50 total. Like that's happened. And then you're just like, I'm just gonna dump it because I don't want to drink for a couple of days. It's gonna go bad. That kind of thing. New York is so easy. Just you don't have to drive. You don't have to.
That was the big thing back home. Once I got my second DUI and I relapsed, I was like, because I had bouts of sobriety. Like I went to rehab in 2013. I didn't get sober till 2018. Like, okay. But it was one of those things where I never understood, and this is because I am a full-blown alcoholic. I never understood after a while the appeal of going out. I was a buy the handle of Smirnoff, get the pack of cigarettes, stay home.
Okay.
Because I was getting in so much trouble going. Like I told you before we started recording, and the listeners of this, I've been arrested 8 times, and it's all drinking related. Getting in fights, driving, doing stupid shit, screaming at cops. Like it was all when I was drunk. So I was like, why don't I just stay home? I'll put on Jersey Shore. I'll fist bump with the boys. Jersey and we'll just get hammered.
And they're just drunk and fighting.
Yeah.
So then you're just looking in the mirror fighting yourself.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm going to fight myself tonight. Oh my goodness. I did love Jersey Shore. The Situation had the best confessionals on that show.
Oh.
Forget about Vinny doing stand-up. The Situations things were so funny. Like, it was so good. The classic.
We're going to have a situation here.
It's just like, oh my goodness. So he doesn't drink.
No, yeah, he's
It'd be great to have him on your show. You should have him on your show. Oh my God, it'd be great. Let's make it happen. And wait,
Mike, if you're out there.
Mike, gotta do it. Wait, so when did you get sober?
So I got sober May 31st, 2018.
Okay.
My 30th birthday was May 29th. I had no intention to drink, and I talk about this all in my one-man show, but then I got drunk, so drunk, I ended up getting rushed to the hospital. I had a friend in town. It's a whole weird, like, God thing where it's like, I should be dead. I woke up in the ER on the 31st. It was a Thursday, and the doctor walked in, and he had a shocked look on his face, and I was like, what's going on? And he goes, you should have been dead 3 hours ago. And I was like, fuck.
Oh, I'm getting chills.
But you know what I mean? It was one of those things where I was like, fuck.
Because your blood alcohol level was so high.
Yeah, it was 0.38, which is absurd.
It's 0.008 is the legal limit.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Well, and it's for like,
but
my understanding of it is for like, that's the percentage basically of alcohol in your bloodstream. So anything over 0.3, like if you get a DUI and it's 0.3 or above, they legally have to take you to the hospital because you could die. And mine was 0.38, and the doctor was like, and I made a joke, of course. I was like, I've been training for this my whole, like you're talking about your friend on the plane. He's like, you should have been dead 3 hours ago. And I was like, I've been training for this my whole life. And he goes, this isn't funny. Like, you should not be even alive, let alone awake. And
oh gosh.
No, and that's when I was like, because I had gone, I realized I was an alcoholic pretty early because I was an athlete and I was obsessed with like playing sports. And then when that was taken away, I just dumped everything into drinking and partying. And my anxiety is such where I was like, oh, this makes me feel better. So I just kept doing it and doing it. And then I realized probably about 23, I went to my first AA meeting and I'm like crying, like, I have a problem. And then 7 years later, I was like, nah, I got a problem. But it is one of those things where it was just like, fuck.
Yeah, so you're 39.
I'm 30 right now. I'm 37.
37. Okay, I'm 43. I say my age, so I don't know about that.
Rock and
but
roll.
Thank you. And so, did your friend have to take you to the hospital that night? Okay.
So basically, what happened was I had a friend in town. I texted him my address because he's like, hey, I want to see you while I'm in town. This is one of my gay best friends. I've known him for like 2 decades. So him and I have a very unique relationship where it's not like my buddy being like, yo, bro, let's hang out. Like he was like, no, I want to see you. I'm going to see you. And I was unconscious and unresponsive on the bathroom floor.
Oh, no.
And he was like banging on the door because he had no idea. He was just texting me and I wasn't responding. And then he was calling and I wasn't responding. And I always lock my door. And this was a situation where I just came home from the early morning liquor store and just forgot to lock it. And he opened the door and saw me and like panicked,
oh my gosh,
dragged me down to his car and rushed me to the hospital. And they were like, yeah, you definitely would have been dead had that not happened. And you should already be dead anyway. And that's when I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. Because it was one of those things where I knew I had a problem for a long time. Because to your point, it was like once I started, it was like, we're on. I always relate it, and this is funny, but I don't know if you ever saw Old School, but I always related to Will Ferrell's character, Frank the Tank, where it's like, once it hits your lips, it's just so good. Because that was me. It was like, I am like, the reason I got so many second, third, and fourth chances with people is because I'm naturally like I try to be a good person.
You can tell you are.
Yeah, and I try to be empathetic, and I try to like relate to people, and I try to just be a good person. But and it's a jokey way to look at it, but it's so true. The second it hits my lips, I'm just like, click,
game on,
and it's over. Like I'm like, here we go.
And you're probably a lot of fun to hang out with too.
Oh,
like you know where you're like, let's go drink with Brendan. Yes, and you're like, okay, let's go.
I used to be the guy that people would call. Like if they were, when I remember when all my friends first graduated college and they were having these awkward like parties with like friends from college, they would call me to be like, you have to come make this a real thing. And then I would get way too drunk in 2 hours. They would send me downstairs to the spare room, turn on the TV, put my bottle of vodka next to me, and then walk back upstairs.
Oh,
because
so they knew.
Because they knew I would be like, I would rage if I didn't have my booze, but they also knew I was content just being by myself. So they were just like...
You're like, okay, we need you for this amount of time.
I was like the party starter.
Yeah, you're the party starter. Then you're like, now I'm off shift. Yeah. Okay, he's down.
I'm clocking out. Where's my card? Somebody swipe me out.
I gotta go. Party's over. Party's literally.
So what happened with you in Ireland? So you go to Ireland in July because you would take some time off from drinking.
Now I started, I want to say back in like June. I had some boozy nights that came in where I was like drunk texting my ex-boyfriend and I was like, ooh, this isn't good. This is all what you didn't want to do. Yeah. I was like, this is not what you want to do 6 months ago. Like this is not what you know. like kind of like going back to the old ways. I had lost some weight. Then I was like, oh, the weight starts creeping up. Now, Ireland was fun. I drank Guinness. I had a good time. I made out with 4 dudes. Like, I'm
go.
sorry. It was like how Teresa got her groove back. Irish style. And and I was like, I am going to drink on this trip. And I noticed some of the girls went out and didn't drink. And I was like, how are they doing that? Like, how are you out, like, not drinking? But then I also was like, oh, I don't feel great today. You know, like we were
Especially Guinnesses.
Guinness will mess your stomach up.
It's so heavy.
Something fierce. And I know it's low calories, but dear God, I was like, oh my goodness. And then we were on this massive bus. I don't know how I didn't get like sick, but I didn't.
Good for
but
you.
I know,
Champ.
thank goodness. Yeah, but it was like, hey, we're on vacation. Why not go have another drink? Like, go ahead. And so I had a great time. And I was like, I feel like I did it right, how you should do it. But I was like, okay, we got to kind of not drink for it. So I didn't drink for like 2.5 weeks, but then I had the main trip and I was like, I'm going to drink on this. Well, I had a time. I went out to the Hamptons with my girlfriends and I kind of got into a little argument with them. And I don't like to fight with my friends. I'm not a friend fighter. I'm not that girl that there's always drama with. Like, no, like if we don't like each other, we're not going to hang out. Like,
Can I tell you, that is something, that is a hill that I die on all the time with a certain someone in my life who I won't name because I don't want to implicate her in anything. But she has friends sometimes where she'll say stuff and I go, you don't have to see them.
yeah. If you don't like them, and I think this happens with age, then don't. If someone doesn't bring you joy and you don't feel good after you hang out with them, don't hang out with them. Like, make up an excuse. Be like, this is not worth my time or my energy.
Yeah.
And so, but I do love them very much. And then I realized, like, I took it to another level. Like, and I'm the only single one out of them. And I think that there were other factors too that maybe subconsciously made me like drink more. And so like then the next day I took a picture of me and I just looked so sad and I was like having the worst anxiety. I was crying in the back room and then I talked to them and then we had like a heart to heart. So then a few days later,
The hangover heart to hearts are.
oh gosh, and they love me. Like I've been friends with them.
I
Like,
know.
I know.
Those
and I
are
was
the
like,
best though, because it's like you're just kind of like you're so vulnerable and you're just like, I'm just gonna get this out, and you're not drunk. You might be still a little buzzy, but you're not drunk, and so everyone takes your vulnerability like for truth because it's not like I've had plenty of drunk nights where I'm crying talking to people and the next day you're just like that was weird, but in that like hangover anxiety kind of window people are like, oh, this is a real conversation that we're having.
And they were very sweet because my one friend didn't end up telling me like, take your drunk ass to bed. Like, and I was like, oh, and then like that hit the nerve. And like the next day they're pouring a bunch of spritzes because they had this massive spritz machine. It was awesome. But they were like, do you want a spritz? I was like, maybe I shouldn't during this conversation of alcohol. And so, and then a few days later, I actually joined a group. Okay. So my group is called Sober Fit Girls. They're online. It is kind of fun because when you're talking about like, how are you doing this? I call my FSGs and Sober Fit Girls. But you do like
Shout out.
I have to, and it's all women, and they have kind of the same stories.
It's called Sober Fit Girls.
Sober Fit Girls. It's all women. Sorry, guys. And
Listen here, Teresa.
but they and some of them are younger, some of them are like they're all ages, but I have like an accountability coach. That has been the key to help me this time around, because I message her, this is what our plans are, this is what we're doing, like, and more so than ever, like a therapist has helped me more. Like she knows how it is. Like she was like, this happened to me, and all these girls share these stories and you're like, oh, okay. And you can see where you are on the spectrum of like drinking and things like that.
Well, that was actually one of my biggest problems when I first started going into the rooms because I got sober through a super secret anonymous program. I got the book right there. But I should probably move that for recordings. But when I first got there, I was, to your point about the spectrum, I was like, oh, these people are fucked. Like, I'm 23. I just got done playing college football. Like, you guys are insane. And then I go back out. And then I come back. And then the stories stop seeing as insane. And then finally, the last time I came back in, I was like, oh, I'm the guy now. I'm the guy now that when I tell a story, other people listen to it and go, well, I wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? So, like, I had crossed over. So, for me, it was definitely one of those things where had I been more receptive to having other people in my life, because that's the whole thing with the program is like, it's about the fellowship and it's about sharing your experience, strength, and hope with others about like, yeah, I was as bad as you, if not worse than you, but I got through it. That whole story of like, there's a man in the hole and the doctor throws him down a prescription and he's like, that doesn't help me. The priest throws him down a prayer and he's like, that doesn't help me. And then his best friend jumps down and he goes, what are you doing now? We're both in the hole. He goes, yeah, but I know the way out. that whole thing.
Oh, I've never heard that.
You've never heard?
Another
Oh my
chills
God.
again. That's 2 chills.
Sorry.
Oh my God, that's a great chills.
No, that's it's like an old proverb, but it is one of those things where. So to your point, and this is one. I think the reason why a lot of people understand that my sobriety is like my sobriety, it's my thing, is because like I don't push AA or this program or that book or anything like that. Like if someone's like, I've been sober, I've been doing this, I'm like, fucking awesome.
If it's working for you,
awesome.
great.
Yeah. So the accountability thing is huge.
Community.
Yes.
That's a big thing too. Because even I look up, like I had 30 days and I sent a selfie of myself the night before a show. Look up. And then I wrote like the things about like I don't miss. Like, because it's right now, and I think a lot of it does come with age too. It's like the pros are not outweighing, the cons are outweighing the pros.
Yeah.
So it's like I would go out, my sisters are like, I have 2 older sisters, and they're like, did you have fun? I was like, but no, the fun is not fun anymore. It's just not as, I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
But it's just the next day it isn't, and it's just not worth it. So last night, actually, we had, where I work, it's a craft beer bar. We had a big event, and I haven't been tempted to drink at work. Like I'll have an NA beer, and because we don't have liquor, which makes it easy for no shots. That makes it very easy.
I was a huge liquor guy.
I know if I sit on the other side of the bar and I have a seat, you might as well call me an Uber, because I'm going to sit and I'm going to have 1 drink, 2 drinks. I'm tired. I'm dehydrated. It's been a long day. I'm just going to drink way more than I should. And so last night it was like we were like 4 deep at the bar, a very busy event, out of glassware, just like all the stresses, the fucking glassware, man. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here, but it was like, I couldn't keep up.
Swear,
and I was like, and then people are just looking.
Just wash the fucking dishes.
Well, it was just 2 of us. So we were going back and forth with doing it. And then people
Oh, you
were
guys
like,
do your own?
Oh yeah, the bartenders are doing our own. So it was just 2 of us with this big event. And like, I love my manager, but I was like, where were you for the last 2 hours? Like, you come up and it's like, we just needed someone to like grab some stuff. And then I don't know, I couldn't hear what people were saying. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I want to close my tab out. What's your fucking tab? Maybe lead with that. Like, can you say your last name like a human?
Passive, close it out.
Yes, like, hey, I'm closing out DeGaetano, DEG. Thank you. You've been to a bar before. You know how this shit works. And so I get like so fired up. And so last night I was like, I want to, and I don't even like the word triggered. I feel like that's
I hate that
I know,
word
but I was
too,
like,
but
I feel,
I get it.
I'm going to use the word tempted, another T word. And I was like, I am tempted to drink. This is a night where I would like, they had this Imperial Stout on. It was 10% barrel aged, but I took a little, because I was like, I just got to see what it tastes like. And I was like, okay, done. Oh, that tastes good. Like, it's like a beer that you would have around like a snowstorm, like around a fire, like one of those. And so I poured myself an NA West Coast IPA, because that's what I like, a West Coast style IPA. And I did my cash out. We made a lot of money, and I took my ass home. And I was like, okay, you didn't drink. But that was the one time that I was like, I really feel
I relate it
triggered.
because my twin sister doesn't drink anymore, but she,
My brother and sister are twins.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So I have a twin sister, but she went a different route. She did kind of what you're talking about. She coaches and she's a trainer and she runs marathons. And this is all stuff she got into later in life. Like I was always the athlete growing up, and then as we got older, she kind of pivoted into like doing more sporty things and working out and like the lifestyle change.
That's great.
So that's been her whole thing, was like just being held accountable, and it's a lifestyle. It's not like I'm not like going to meetings, I'm not doing this, I'm just being held accountable. So she's very similar to you in that aspect, but this is something, and it doesn't matter if you're getting sober on your own or if you're getting sober through like rehabs, it doesn't matter. If you just decide not to drink anymore, one thing that I have learned is very similar to the gym, in the sense that getting in the door is the hardest part. And then once you do a lift and you know you can do it, you're like, oh, I can get through that. And then what I mean by that is like, when I first got sober, if I had a bad schedule, like 3 closes in a row, I'd be like, fuck this, and I'd go drink.
Yeah.
But then I got through that. Then, once I actually got sober this last time, I was like, it's not that bad. And then I would have like something more traumatic happen, and then I would get through that. And then when you have something bigger happen, like I had a friend, one of my closest friends in the program, OD'd and died. But I had gone through those other little things that I was like, okay, maybe I can make it through this now too. And I did. So it is one of those things, to your point, where it's like, so now that you've gone through I had a crazy night at work, I really wanted to drink, but I didn't. You now know in your brain, oh, I can get through that.
Yep.
And it is one of those things where it's almost like unlocking a superpower, where you're like, oh, I don't have to do that after.
My mantra last night was, it's not worth it. It's
Yeah.
not worth you. This is not worth you not drinking. This beer event is not worth you not drinking. And one of like the brewer guys who works there, they had an NA beer on tap because he doesn't drink.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't really like it, I'll be honest. I didn't think it tasted that good. I was like, it's fine. It didn't taste that great. But
it's great.
it's great. We love it. It's going to be here for weeks. No one's going to drink this. And so we're going to have to give this away.
Till it skunks in the thing.
It's going to be bad. But that's what it is. Like the little things too is like, it's way harder to do things hungover than it is to do it like sober. Because I had a couple closing shifts. I don't usually close the bar, but I do if I pick up. And I was like, oh, I made it to 4 a.m. and didn't drink. Oh, that's good. Because once 2 a.m.
That's
hits,
insane.
I know. You're like, oh
I work
God,
at a
everyone go
swanky
home.
restaurant, so we close like the latest we're open is 11 o'clock, and I'm still just like.
Nope, 4 a.m. It's really, yep. And that's when I'm like, what am I trying here? Am I going through the NA beers? Because usually I'll bring a coffee, then I'll crack a Celsius at midnight. But it's midnight. You still have 5 hours before you're going to bed. But the money's
That's
good.
just giving me anxiety.
I know.
just
Well, that's why
talking
I
about
just
it.
pick up those shifts where I'm like, okay, I can make it through this. I made it through San Gennaro Festival working at our sister bar that all they do is shots. And I was like, I can't do a shot. I was like, I need you to give me a fake shot. And so I was like, made it through that. And then any like stressful stuff, you feel 10 times worse when you're hungover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I learned. Like, to wake up and be like, oh, I'm not spiraling. I'm not doing this. But when we went to, like to get to the journey of like not wanting to drink at this moment is that then I went to Maine, got hammered, came back, had like a day here. Then I went to Fire Island with my friends.
Okay.
And they love, this is the first week of September, the
You're
first week
such a good podcaster. You're just not going to
sorry.
stories without
Nope. I'm just
setup.
like, this is the nice trajectory here.
Well, no, because like sometimes I have people on and I'm like, okay, so tell me about.
No, well, it all brings it back to like where I am now. And I've always kind of drank, but I can go for a while without drinking. I've never gone to 60 days before. So that's our new goal. And there's no end game here. Before it was like, where's the end
1
game?
month.
1 month.
Yeah,
we can do
yeah.
it. We
Let me
can do
get
it.
yeah.
Now there's no, it's different. I feel it's different. Fire Island was great though. And they love wine. Like my buddy who's a comic, they're both comics, a couple. He knows so much about wine. And so they brought all these bottles. I was like,
So did you go for a comedy related thing or you just went with friends?
friends. They're
Okay.
my friends, but they also do stand up.
Got it,
So it's two couples and myself. And I actually met my ex-boyfriend through them. And I was like, I was afraid I was going to get drunk. I'd be like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And his name is also Guy. So that's kind of funny. But I didn't. And I was like, and I don't feel that way, but it was actually really fun with all of them. And I walked on the beach every morning, but I had 2 huge nights that I didn't moderate. I was just like, I was messed up. Like it was just, and the last night we stayed up of the trip till almost 4 a.m. trying all the wine, sitting around talking. And the next day we were both a little sick in the car. Like his wife was driving and we were like, oh, the stop and go. Oh, the stop and And then I had to get on I had to take 3 trains because they live on the Lower East Side. And like with my huge backpack at rush hour. And I was like, this is miserable. This is just. And so from then I was like, okay, this is it. We're not going to drink. I was already doing Sober Fit Girls. And I was like, real talk, I didn't moderate. Like they're like, well, you saw what you did. I was like, no, there were days I did not. Like I just got after it. And so it took me 5 full days to feel like myself again.
Yeah.
Because I am bubbly, I am chatty. I can when I'm hungover. It is
the dopamine, all that kind of stuff that gets your brain synapses stop firing the right way, and like that's where the anxiety comes from. And it takes a while.
That's why the Xanax is great if you're hungover.
Yeah. I remember in college, because I've never been a weed guy. And I remember, but I've tried it. Like, I mean, I've fucking smoked crack. So like, it wasn't like out of the realm. It's just like, I don't like this. I don't like the way it feels. And with drinking, I had become so accustomed to it that I was like, I know I'm not good at it. To your point, it's like, I'm actually getting worse at this, but I know exactly how I'm going to feel after X number of shots after this. And I remember my roommate in college, shout out Sean Michael Murphy, was a big pothead.
I love the 3 names.
The pirate. But he was always like, because I would wake up so hungover, even in college. Everyone's like, oh, you don't get hungover in your 20s. And I was like, I did. Yeah. I did a lot. But he'd be like, yeah, let's just smoke weed. And that is the one thing I will give it up to the weed heads. It's like when I'm hungover and I can't even move, you just like take a couple of hits of weed and you're like, all right, we're okay. We're okay.
We can do this. Do you have a joke about this? I hate to do the comic thing, but when you're like, I don't really smoke weed, but I've smoked crack. If you're
No,
like,
not
you
at all.
should. I don't know if you want to go there, but be like, no, I'm gonna pass on the weed. But do you have any crack?
Yeah.
Like that.
It's an amazing.
sorry.
It's an amazing 14 minutes, and then.
I'm sorry.
No, but that's and it's interesting too because I am such an open book, and sometimes my fiance, who I'm contractually obligated to mention on every episode, Tracy, love you. Sometimes she gets a little. I don't want to say anxious, but sometimes she's like, you share a lot, and it's all out there in the open. Like all my mom would have to do is just Google your name and your podcast. Like her mom one time was like, "Oh, he has a podcast. I want to listen to it," and I was like, "I don't know." No.
Yeah, it's hard to explain to parents and certain things. Like my parents are gonna have their 50th wedding anniversary this
Ooh,
weekend.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we're
Congratulations to
going. I'm
them.
going back home to Pennsylvania where I'm from. But like, it's hard to explain. There is a generational thing. Like my dad has never heard me do stand up.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I'm that dirty. But compared to like what Squeaky Clean, is.
Well, there's an interesting thing too. Like my dad is like he's a boomer, but he's like right on the edge. He was more Gen X than anything. Like loved rock and roll. My dad shreds on the guitar. Always wanted to could have always been in a band if he wanted to. He's very good with music, but he got married and started having kids when he was like 21 years old. So it is one of those things where he never did that. So I feel a connection with him and a kinship with him in the fact that I moved across the country to pursue a dream in entertainment. So him and I connect on that. But my dad, I think, is an anomaly when it comes to parents of that generation because Tracy's parents are the same age as mine. But with them, I'm always just like, let's not talk about the aid arrest. Let's not talk about the crippling debt or the rehabs or the this or the that.
But you're reformed. Like you can talk about it because it's you've grown from it. You've learned 100%. From it. Everybody has a past. Everybody does.
But it is just a fun thing when you meet because she's very well adjusted and her parents are still together and they still go on these vacations every year and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, we don't do that.
And it's so funny that I have a bit about it where I was like, she's one of these psychos that goes on like 10-day summer vacations with her family. And I go, but maybe that's, I can't even spend 10 minutes with my family, but maybe that's why I'm up here telling jokes, looking for the validation of strangers. And she's a school teacher. You know what I mean? But it is one of those things where it's just like, and I am very open. Like, I think you are as well. Like, and so it is just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, but I think people misunderstand. I don't fucking care. Like what you guys, like this is what happened. And I'm on the other side through the looking glass, sober. I go to the gym. I'm doing the career that I love in the city that it's the mecca of. And it's like, you can't tell me shit.
You're so far removed from those things, and that's why you can speak about it so freely is because time has happened. Also, you really can't care. One of the things I've learned not drinking in the last 32 days, listen to me, is you can't care what anyone else thinks. Like, I have to live with myself. So I have to go home and be like, yeah, I'm not going to drink. I'm sorry if that makes you feel uncomfortable because you're drinking. I don't care. I'm going to go home.
100%.
Like, I said no. We went to the boathouse last week. I did my lunch. I had a great time. Everyone was getting drunk. Then I went and made a video in the park. Like, I had a sober rest of the night because I wasn't drinking. Now, the next day, they were all going to a bar, Whiskey Tavern. And I was like, I'm not going to go. I already knew I wasn't going to go. And then they were like, are you on your way? And I'm like, no. I was never planning on coming. No. I did my stuff yesterday. Like, I was like, we celebrated you yesterday. Like, I'm not, And so I was like, have a great night, everybody. XO. Like I kind of skated around the issue, but I'm like, I know I'm going to want to drink if I go. I know, like it's setting yourself up for, now I don't know how you feel now, like, but when you first got sober, like not putting yourself in those situations.
Yeah, 100%.
That you're like, I don't think this is a good situation
for me. That's a huge thing. And that's something that we talk about in the Super Secret program, but also I talk about with people who are just like not even in, like you said, like not even doing anything like that level, but still trying not to drink is like, only be there if you have a reason to be there.
Yeah, or you like the people too, and they understand.
But that's a reason to be there is because I'm going out with my friends. This is where they want to go, so now I have a reason to be there. But I remember when I first got out of rehab, I would go to bars and get a Diet Coke in a rocks glass with a gentleman's cube because I didn't want to feel like I wasn't a part of the group. And of course, I fucking relapsed within like a year because it's like, no, that's not, you have no reason to be there.
You shouldn't.
You're just going to be around it. And now it's interesting because I so do not care when other people are drinking. In fact, I encourage it. One of my buddies, Dan Lamort, friend of the show, once said, he goes, you really are like the best drinking buddy, even though you don't drink anymore. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, every time you see someone who's like, oh, I think I'm going to get a drink, you get so excited. And you're like, yeah, do you want to rip a shot? I'll buy it. You do a shot. And I go, yeah, because like I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum, man. Like if you want to go, like I'm all for it. I'm not going to do it because I can't. But if you want to, let's go.
Yeah, have a great time. There is a moment though when everyone starts to get drunk that you're like, yeah, this is annoying. Like, do you find that now?
I find it now being as sober as I have been for a long time, I find it now more it's annoying because they're being annoying, not annoying because it's like, oh, I want to participate in the fun.
Yes.
For me, in the beginning, to your point, I avoided those situations because I was like, oh, this is so much fun. It kind of makes me want to drink and do drugs and get crazy. But now it's completely flipped. Now, especially working in the restaurant, if like a table has 3 bottles of wine, I'm like, you're getting really fucking annoying, dude.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like you're slurring, you're asking for stuff that I already brought. You're asking me where's the ketchup? There's 3 on the table. Like now I'm fucking annoyed.
Well, I noticed this too when it comes with age. We work in the restaurant industry, so we're around it. Mine is like it's a bar, so I'm out all day. Like when you work in an office, do you want to go hang out in an office for fun? No, you don't.
Yeah.
You want to like remove yourself from it. So now I'm like, I've already done my social stuff. Like people are drunk, I'm annoyed. I want to go like that kind. So I feel like I do get my taste of things, but then also bow out. From it.
Well, I'm the same way at the gym. Like I don't talk to anybody at the gym, and I think it comes off. And I have a bit about it, but I think it comes off as like me thinking I'm like just like people think I'm a gym douche, where it's like, oh, he's like so like locked into his fitness, and that's not true at all. It's just between the podcast, between the restaurant, between stand up. Because I'm an extroverted introvert. My natural state is to be by myself. So between all that stuff, I have to be on all the time. The gym is the one place where even at home, like I live with my fiance. So it's like I want to be a better boyfriend, a better fiance, a better person. So it's not, I can't just ignore her when like I have to be engaged. And so, didn't even mean to make that pun. And so, but it is one of those things where it's like, when I'm at the gym, it's like, I am off the clock. Don't fucking talk to me. I don't care. I just want to work out. And I have some friends at the gym that I really like. And I'll, hey, what's up? Your Giants. How about the Giants, right? That's crazy. And they'll be like, how about the Jags? Yeah, that's nuts. All right, cool. And then we won't speak the rest of the time.
That's great.
Which is what I like. Because to your point, it's like, I have to do this song and dance all the time.
Day after bartending all day, where people come in and tell you stuff. And sometimes I get that blank look where I'm like, I shut
just
up. Like,
doesn't
just,
register.
It's like,
yeah.
One guy came in this week. He's like, you see my arm? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I got my rotator cuff fixed. I was like, I didn't even know that happened. Like, great to see you. Okay. Like, I'm just like, and that's why people will drink during the job, because you're like, I can't deal with this. And so that's why I drink a lot of coffee. And
that used to be, did you, when you were drinking, was that a big thing? Was drinking at work?
No, I am not a work drinker because I would get drunk and get fired. And I was like, I am not dying on that hill. And I was like, I am not losing people's credit cards. I am not messing up the money.
I forgot I had a section one time. I'm a big at work drinker.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm a huge at work drinker. But working as a server, you can toe a line where you're like, this is fun. We're having a good time. I'm actually better at my job because I'm more fun. It's a really slippery slope, though. It's a really thin line to walk, because then you turn into, in my experience, I've turned into, hey, Brennan, have you been back over to table 42? I don't have table 42. You greeted them and got them drinks, and then you just never went back there. What? Table 42? Or like screaming at the kitchen staff, like, why the fuck is my appetizer taking so long? You guys suck. And like storming out, like, because I'm hammered.
And it already went out.
And and then going out to the table and being like,
oh,
there it is.
Great.
So
that's the server nightmare that you've lived. I witnessed it once, a couple times with people. That one girl I think was having a mental break, but like she took the drink order for like 4 tables and never, they were like, we've still been waiting on a drink. She took her drink order and she's just sitting there talking. And I'm like, did you take the drink order? Like, did you? That's why I don't, because I've witnessed it. And I'm like, oh, you can't do that. Oh gosh. I wanted to say something when you're like, if you just get in the gym, if you just do that. I go to a workout studio. It's a hot studio. So that's great when you're sweating out tequila from the night before and you're
people smell you. It's so weird because people used to tell me all the time, Brennan, I can smell you. And I'd be like, you're full of shit.
No, you can.
And now that I've been not even sober for as long as I have been, but once you stop drinking for even like a couple of weeks, you can really be like, I can smell you.
Yeah, you're like, oh Lord, let me just go detox in the workout studio. But one of the things I always tell myself is like, you just have to get on the mat. Like as soon as you get in there, like you're gonna do the class. You just have to get there.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're like, I got this. I can do this. I got here.
Getting through the door is the hardest part.
Yeah,
once you
getting
walk
through
through the door, door, it's over.
Yep.
It's just like being a comic. Once you grab the microphone and pull it out of the stand, it's done. You're done.
You got it. I had a therapist once. This was so funny. She's like, never go to the second location. If you're drinking, it's like a horror film. I was like, oh, that's really good. Yeah. Or the play the tape forward.
Or the one I like, nothing good happens after whatever time, you know, based on the life that you live, you can adjust it. Like I always say, nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m. because for me, I'm like 2 a.m. is my max cutoff. Unless I have a spot at the cellar, which I'm not past there, so that's not a thing.
Someday.
But unless I have a spot at the, like one of those late spots at like 3:15, you will not catch me out of this apartment after like 1:45.
That's great. What if you're a day drinker? You're like, nothing good happens after 1 p.m.
That's honestly, when I worked at the breakfast place, because we'd get off by 2, there was a bar across the street that everyone went to. And I, again, to the point I made earlier, I'm not a drink out at the bar person, but everyone after work would go there. So I would be like, all right. And there was a very, very pretty bartender that I had a huge crush on. So I was like, all right, I'll go there for like 1 or 2 $5 Rumpleman shots, do a couple of those.
Rumplemans.
Drink a mixed drink. And then jump in my car and drive it was like 2 miles to my house, like down a side road. So I was like, all right, I'm good. I can do this. But yeah, for me, it was like by 6 o'clock, I need to be in, to your point, I was day drinking. So it's like by 6 p.m., I need to be in home, like having some food in my stomach, getting ready to hopefully pass out by 10 because I'd have to be up at 5:30.
That's a tough.
That's a weird life to live.
Now, I do jokes about the little things that happen when I drink. Do you also have those jokes in your set? Like,
almost all my material
is about. That's great because I will say, no one who comes to a comedy show really wants to hear that you're sober. They want to hear the stories, just like what this is. They're like, oh, you don't drink anymore? Okay, so what happened when you did?
My go-to thing is I always say how long I've been sober, and everybody always cheers. And then I even say that, like I have a tag for that. Everyone cheers, and I go, I appreciate you all cheering. I know everybody always is like, that's awesome. I'm going to be very honest with everybody in the room right now. It's so fucking boring. Because it is. And then everyone kind of laughs. And then my follow-up is always, I used to be the guy at work like, hey, you want to go in the bathroom and chug these airplane minis? Now I'm the guy who shows up early like, what do you need, boss? And I hated that guy. And now I'm that guy. And then I go into like because I have like 12 minutes on being arrested and jail stuff. I've got like another 15 minutes on like doing, like I talk about being insecure, so like being a sober person, but also I'm very insecure. And like one of my best bits is I like butt stuff. I like stuff done to my butt, but because I'm sober, I don't have drunk sex anymore. So no one's ever going to know that. I'm just going to live with that.
You're not going to have to say that until you just stick your butt in someone's face and you're like, have a go at it.
Well, in the bit, I always say, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this elaborate plan to become a comedian and write a bit about it so my girlfriend can hear it. And now she knows I'm into butt stuff. And everyone's always like, is she here? And sometimes when she's at shows, that brings the house down. When they turn and she's like, hi.
Oh, that's
But then
really
she always,
funny.
and this is now a part of the bit, but then she always is like, is that really true? And I'm like, that's the reason I wrote the bit, was so we didn't have to have this conversation.
That is so funny. I had one with feet where I dated a guy who was into feet. And then I was like, this is great. You can just suck on my toes. They're not doing this at like the foot massage place. I work on my feet. Like my feet hurt. This is awesome. Like you want to pay for a pedicure? Great. But then like the next relationship, you should just be like, hey, are you into like touching my feet? So then like he was on top and I was like, let me just shove my toe in his mouth and see what happens. Cause he'll bite it like a dog. If he's like into it, like, arr. That didn't happen. I kicked him in the face. So I was like, that's not really going to work out so well. And it's funny. I don't always do it because audiences will tense up about that one a little bit. So you're like, I don't know what to say.
No, go ahead.
Well, one of the things is now, like, I'm single. So I've taken kind of like dating off the table. And I am a little nervous because I don't even want to, like, no one's worth the drink right now. And that's what you do on a date. Like, I would be great with a coffee date, a coffee and a walk.
Coffee is how Tracy and I, our first date was a coffee date.
That's great.
And my thing, and obviously I had years and years of sobriety when her and I first met, but my thing is I always throw everything on the table immediately.
That's good.
Because if you hide, in my experience, if I hide it, then we're not actually figuring out where this is going to go anyway. Because if I hide it, but it's a deal breaker for you, and we spend like 6 weeks together and we're having a great time, and then you find out and you're like, oh, this is over. Well, then I just wasted 6 weeks. Or smart. If I hide it, and it's not a deal breaker for you, then there's a level of betrayal where it's like, why didn't you tell me this when we first started? I don't care. In fact, I'm more upset that you didn't tell me, sort of a situation. So for me, the one thing I can tell you about dating sober, because I've now gone through 3 relationships and a few or 2 relationships like long term and a couple of like one night one offs in my sobriety. And the one thing is, everyone knows I don't drink.
That's good.
Like that's something that I just put out there. And again, because you're doing it a little differently and you don't know how long it's going to be for or what this is, it might be different in your situation. But for me, it's always just like, this is what it is. Been arrested 8 times, lived in a halfway house, sober for 7 years.
Yep, that's great.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam. So you're like, okay, great. Like, yeah, I like that.
And also, between us girls, it gives you a little bit of like street cred to be like, ooh.
Oh, he was a former bad boy, reformed. Oh, we love it. Okay, he's already gotten that out of his system. And 7 years, because I was like, if you were like 6 months, you're like, oh, this is too close to home. And so, but you've got some time in between. Yeah.
It's also one of those things where they're like, oh, if we're on the subway and something happens, he could flip that switch and be like,
that is funny. I wait on this guy. This is years ago, but when you were talking about Diet Coke in a rocks glass, like with a proper rock, this poor man came in and he's like, hey, listen, I've got a date and I don't drink, but like I don't want her to like get freaked out. So can you put like a Coke, make it look like a Jack and Coke in a glass? Here's $20. And I was like, you came to the right girl. Yes, because money will talk.
Yes.
Circling it back, I was like, I will keep these coming all night, buddy. I was like, you gave me $20. I was like, I'm getting you laid. Like I am invested. I told my coworkers, I was like, this guy's on a date. This poor man, and I thought he was fine looking. The girl got there, then she went to the bathroom and she left. And I was like, oh, because he said, I haven't been laid in like a really long time. That was the part. And I was like, that's right. I was like, we're invested now. And
we're invested now.
Yeah, I was like, I want to get this. I've never seen him before, but I want to get Jeremy laid. Like, let's go. And so, and then I felt so bad because then he was like, she left. And I was like, oh, but I'm not going to give you your $20 back. Like, I was like, at that point, no. But I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like,
that is I see it a lot. Not a lot. I see it enough at the restaurant where it makes me, but I'm empathetic. Like, it makes me so, like, I almost cry when I see it. Because you'll get these guys, they come in and they're like, boy, oh boy, it's the 3rd date. Hopefully. If it's the first date and you're taking them to my expensive restaurant, you fucking don't. Yeah. I made that mistake. When me and my ex first broke up and I got on the apps and I was dating and stuff, I was like, oh, well, I get a discount. Like, it'll be fun. And literally, me and this girl who had gone back and forth, and she was a bartender, and she was like, oh, I got called out tonight. And I go, oh, I'm actually on my way to get food at my restaurant because I get a discount. Meet me there. That'll be like our first official date. And then she drinks. So she bought like wine and all this. And even with my discount, even with my managers trying to hook me up, I still spent like $400.
Whoa.
And then she ghosted me. Well, she didn't ghost me. I think I'm using that term wrong. She texted me and said, I don't think you're over your ex yet. I don't think this is going to work out. After I had spent.
And she didn't volunteer to pitch in any money for that?
Nope. And I was like, I got, man. And then all my friends were like, you know, comics. They're all like, no coffee. Coffee for the first 10 dates.
Where did she work? You should go into her bar and then be like, hey, this is from the $400.
Yeah, I know where she works too. But I've seen that happen where guys come in and you could tell, like, you know, I'm not the coolest guy in the world, but I'm pretty fucking cool. And when these guys come in and you go, oh, man.
You're like, this is going to be a tough one.
I love you. I feel for you, dude. I got fucking a Star Wars encyclopedia over there. Like, I feel for you, but you're playing this all wrong. You're playing this all backwards.
Only date what you can afford, too. It's like, if you don't want to spend, because cocktails are expensive. If you don't want to spend that money on a first date, I think coffee's fine. I don't think it's cheap. I don't think it's like you're getting to know someone. Then be like, okay, the next date, let's do this. It's like the initial, just like the audition. And
that's a great thing about being sober. And I'm so, like, open and honest about it. I never would have to worry about, like, oh, let's meet at a bar. Because to your point, drinks are fucking expensive.
They are,
dude.
yes. And it's ridiculous. Like, I can't even afford to drink. And I'm like, I mean, I can. But it's still like, well, you know what I don't like? I don't like these mocktails. How we doing on time? I know. Okay. I went out and it was like a comic's birthday. And I was like, I need to support the bar tab. And so I got a mocktail. And then they added gratuity because it was a party. And I noticed that because I was like, well, this is not the price of the drink. I was like, did you add gratuity? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay, just checking for it's a party tab. But because this is not the same price. Not that I'm cheap, but you notice.
Oh, yeah.
You notice
That's
these
the hardest
things.
thing about being in the industry is it's like, I know what you did and I'm going to ask you just because I want to make sure, but it's not because like I'm being a dick. It's because I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and you should tell me. If I'm ordering a drink at the bar and you add gratuity for one drink, you should tell me.
I tell
because
every
that
guest when
is
we
not,
auto-add gratuity.
that's shiesty business right there. My friend and I, another comic and I, we went to this one bar, the Dickens. It's a gay bar. It was like her cousin's 30th birthday. And her and I just racked up like a $200 and some tab at the bar. Like, and they added gratuity to us. And I was like, there's 2 of us at the bar. I was like, what the Dickens? I was like, this is, I was just like, her and I both like, we got took, because we were throwing them back. And I was like, oh man. And so, what was I gonna say about so I got a mocktail. I don't like mocktails.
I hate mocktails.
They're great. I don't even drink those drinks usually. And so I was like, it's a rip of $20. I was like, I'm not saving money.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not gonna drink, I want to save money. Like
the mocktail situation has gotten out of control. And I understand it because like my twin sister who doesn't drink loves a mocktail. To me, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
it's the calories. If you're trying to
I'm always about like, because I'm a big water drinker, and I'm always like, I will either drink, to your point, it's like I will drink water or I will drink coffee, or if I'm off the wagon, I'm getting fucked up. But it's like, I don't even do soda. And it's not like it is kind of like a personal choice because of all the sugar and all the shit that's in it. But it's also like, I'm not paying $9 for a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Like, I just want water.
Like, I do
The
notice.
liquid is the vessel to get the food down.
Yes, I do notice sometimes you need something in your hand. Like my emotional support drink. Like when I went to Fire Island, I got a water bottle for that. I was like, it's my ESB, my emotional support bottle. And just to have, I was like, I got to get my ESB because I wanted to stay hydrated. And like, I'm going to want to drink something. So let me do that.
Yeah,
and
I always have a big Evian bottle that I fill halfway with tap water. I put it in the freezer. I fill the rest of it up and I keep it in my backpack because I always want to have like water. And I mean, that's not like an outlandish thing. Everyone's got water bottles on them now. But to your point, it's like, I just like, it makes me feel like comfortable to like know that I have something. But like these people, like I've got guys at work that drink, like they burn through like Cokes and Red Bulls. And these are like the broil guys during the shift. And I'm like, you're going to have kidney stones the size of a golf ball.
yeah, that's a lot of calories. Like I do a splash of milk in my coffee because there's other coffees. You're like, that's 700 calories that you just put in your body.
There's a guy at my work who comes in and I go, oh, you got a milkshake today? And he goes, no, it's coffee. I go, that's a milkshake.
It's milkshake, bro. It's a milkshake. There's foam. There's whipped cream
There's
on it.
literal
You can
whipped cream on
lick
it.
the thing. You got a little something on your nose. Is that coffee? No, it's whipped cream.
It's whipped cream from your milkshake.
That's what you got. Well, I also think this too, getting older, when you go on a date, I'd rather have someone not drink and say, I don't drink anymore than someone who drinks and is a barfly. That is one thing. Like I haven't met anybody. I have dated people I've met at the bar, but I'm single. So it's not like I've missed out. And I do this where I'm like, oh, let me just go and see who I'm going to meet at the bar. You're not going to meet anybody.
Nope.
Teresa, you're not going to meet anybody of quality. No offense at that time. But there is something great about like on a Saturday, waking up, taking a 9 a.m. workout class, and you see how the other half lives.
Yep.
These people running in Central Park, they're not going out the night before boozing. Like they're not. And so it's nice for me and probably you two who work in like the service industry, see how like not everybody does drink.
Yeah. That was a very, very interesting realization when I got older and in my sobriety was like, oh, this isn't like, this was me and my friends because we're fucking degenerate psychos. This isn't everybody. And I say degenerate psychos because we were, restaurant drinking, like going hard every day.
Because you take your money that you spent, then you go visit
And
your
you go and
bartenders.
spend it.
Yeah, and you just, here's my cash. Take my wallet. And there's still bars I know, like, I can't go in there because I was like, I'm not going to leave sober. That vodka soda is going to be a vodka soda.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and they think they're doing you a favor. And you're like, but you're not. And so, I mean, I do know bartenders at places. Like I put on their fire hydrant. One of the first things that happened to me, I parked in front of a fire hydrant when I was like, I was in high school. I went to a friend's house. She had an older boyfriend. And so we went there to drink. Then we were going to go to Rock and Bowl. And this was like the first time I kind of got in trouble for drinking. But I didn't get like arrested or anything, but they put a ticket on the car and it was my parents' car. And I was like, oh, okay, they'll just leave a ticket. Well, then you can't park in front of a fire hydrant, which I did not know. Yeah. Then my parents showed up and I was drunk and my dad's a big dude. He's walking up the stairs. My friends took off out the back door and he's like, is Teresa in there? And I was like, yes, sir. Like I've been drinking like pineapple rum. And and what you do to cruising and like and so I told him I can't drive. Like I can't drive the car home.
Dad, you don't want me doing that.
I got grounded. I was supposed to go to Brock and Bowl and see my crush that night, who we worked together at the grocery store, but he lived in another school district. I was like, this is my moment. And then I ended up saying a rosary on my floor because I was like, my parents walked in. My mom was like, she's saying a rosary. And I was like, oh, and I got grounded. But I was like, that is because I drank in high school.
Yeah.
And then it kind of carried on through. Yeah.
We got to have you back on. We're out of time now.
Oh, no, we're out.
But I normally start with like, what did you drink in high school? Did you drink? But we got right into the stories immediately. So we're going to have to have you back to talk about how it all started.
Yeah.
We're going to have you back. How you got your stand-up, how the whole thing started.
And how the progress is
We're
going.
going to Quentin Tarantino this.
Yes.
We'll do the ending first, and then we'll get back to it. Plug everything one more time. Let everybody know.
Teresa DeGaetano, TeresaDeg on all the social medias, and Two Stand-Up Gals Pod on Instagram. You can listen to our podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, all the places.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening at Brennan T. Comedy and on social media, BrennanTComedy.com. And yeah, get the merch. Get the merch. Subscribe to the Patreon, Tales from the Restaurant. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.